You don't feel stuck because life is hard. You feel stuck because it's too comfortable. Nothing is really wrong. That's the problem. You wake up, scroll a little, get through the day, distract yourself at night. And somehow, weeks pass without anything changing. Not worse, but not better either. Just the same. And it doesn't feel urgent enough to fix. So you don't, but every once in a while it hits you. Late at night, when everything is quiet, that thought you try to ignore. Why am I not moving forward? You push it away. Tell yourself you'll figure it out later, but later keeps moving. And that's when it starts to feel heavier. Not dramatic, just constant. Like you're slowly falling behind your own life. Be honest for a second. Is this where you are right now? Because this is where most people misunderstand what's happening. They think they need more motivation, more discipline, a better plan. But here's the uncomfortable truth. You don't have a motivation problem, you have a comfort problem, and that's where it gets tricky. Because comfort doesn't feel dangerous, it feels safe, predictable, earned. After all, what's wrong with being comfortable? You're not struggling, you're not failing, you're just not growing. And that doesn't sound urgent enough to change, so you stay. But this is where it slowly starts costing you, not all at once. Quietly. You choose the easier option today, then again tomorrow. You avoid the thing that feels uncomfortable, the conversation, the risk, the effort. And every time you do, you tell your brain something. Stay where it's safe. At first it feels like control, like you're avoiding stress, protecting your peace. But over time, it turns into something else. You stop challenging yourself. You stop trying new things. You stop risking failure, and without realizing it, you also stop growing. Here's what nobody tells you. Comfort and growth can't exist in the same space. You don't get both. You get one, at the cost of the other. And right now, you've been choosing comfort, not because you're weak, because it's easier, and your brain is wired to choose easy. But wait till you hear this. The longer you stay comfortable, the harder it becomes to leave, because your tolerance for discomfort shrinks. Things that used to feel normal start feeling difficult. Things that used to feel difficult start feeling impossible, so you avoid even more, and suddenly, you're not just comfortable, you're stuck. And that's when the frustration begins. You want more, but you don't move. You think about changing, but you don't act. You feel the gap between where you are and where you could be, and that gap keeps growing. So let me ask you something. Are you actually satisfied, or just used to this version of your life? There's a difference. One is a choice. The other is a habit. And habits are dangerous when you don't question them, because they feel like identity. This is just how I am. But it's not. It's just what you've repeated long enough. And that's when it hits you. Maybe nothing is wrong with you. Maybe you've just been too comfortable for too long. But this is where most people resist. They hear this, and something inside them pushes back. Why should I make things harder? Isn't life already stressful enough? Can't I just be content? And those questions sound reasonable. They feel right. But they're also excuses, soft ones, the kind that don't feel like excuses, because they protect your comfort, and comfort doesn't want to be challenged. It wants to stay. It wants you to believe everything is fine, even when you know it's not. And this next part changes everything. Because the real danger of comfort isn't that it makes you lazy. It's that it makes you passive. You stop taking control. You stop making intentional choices. You just drift from one day to the next, and drifting feels harmless until you look back and realize how much time you lost. And this is where it finally becomes impossible to ignore. You weren't stuck because you lacked potential. You were stuck because nothing around you was forcing you to change. Life felt manageable, predictable, comfortable enough to stay the same, and that's what kept you there. Not failure, not fear, comfort. But now you see it, not as something harmless, but as something that slowly took more than it gave. It gave you ease, but it took your growth. It gave you safety, but it took your momentum. It gave you peace in the moment, but quietly stole your future. And once you see that trade-off clearly, you can't go back to pretending it's worth it. But this is where it changes, because leaving your comfort zone isn't about doing something extreme. It's not about flipping your life overnight. That's what most people get wrong. They think change has to be dramatic. Big decisions, big risks, big moves. So they wait. They wait for the right time, the perfect moment. But comfort loves that idea, because that moment never comes. So instead, nothing changes. But here's the shift most people never make. You don't leave your comfort zone in one step. You leave it in small, uncomfortable decisions, quiet ones, the kind nobody sees, like starting something you've been avoiding, speaking up when it feels easier to stay silent, saying no, even when it disappoints someone, simple, but not easy. And that's the point, because every time you choose discomfort on purpose, you send a signal. I'm not here to stay the same, and your brain starts adjusting. Slowly, it stops resisting as much, it stops pulling you back, and something new begins to build. Tolerance, the ability to sit with discomfort, without running. And that changes everything, because once you can handle discomfort, you're no longer controlled by it. You can take risks, you can try things, you can move forward, even when it feels uncertain. And suddenly, you're not stuck anymore. Not because your life magically changed, but because you did. Let me be honest with you. There's a version of you that already knows this. The one that feels restless sometimes. The one that gets frustrated for no clear reason. The one that thinks, I'm meant for more than this. That voice isn't random. It's awareness. It's the part of you that sees the gap between where you are and where you could be, and comfort tries to silence it by keeping you busy, distracted, satisfied just enough to not act. But it never fully disappears. It keeps coming back, in quiet moments, in late-night thoughts, in that feeling you can't quite explain. So let me ask you something. Are you going to keep ignoring it, or finally listen? Because that voice isn't asking for something impossible. It's asking for movement, progress, change, not all at once. Just a step. And here's where it becomes real. The next time you feel that pull to stay comfortable, pause. Not for long. Just enough to notice it. That urge to avoid, to delay, to choose easy again. And instead of following it automatically, do the opposite. Take the small, uncomfortable action. Start the thing. Say the thing. Do the thing. Even if it feels awkward. Even if it feels slow. Because that moment, that's where your life starts shifting. Not in some big breakthrough, but right there. Where you choose growth over comfort. And yeah, it won't feel amazing at first. It might feel frustrating. Uncertain. But that's the cost. And for the first time, you're paying the right one. Because the real cost was staying the same. Losing time, losing potential, losing the version of yourself you never became. That's what comfort was taking. Quietly, every single day. But not anymore. Because now you're aware. And awareness changes the rules. You're no longer drifting. You're choosing, moment by moment, step by step. And over time, those small choices build something bigger. Confidence, clarity, control, not forced, earned. And one day, you look back and realize you're not the same person anymore. Not because you did something extreme, but because you stopped choosing comfort every time it was easy. So here's the only thing that matters now. What will you do the next time comfort pulls you back? Because it will. That doesn't stop. The difference is, now you see it. And once you see it, you get to decide. Stay the same. Or step forward. No pressure, just truth. And if this felt real to you, don't ignore it.